Hello everyone, welcome back. This will be our next assignment. The next assignment being, as we have already completed the manual Oracle software cloning to the other server. Now we will be doing the manual Oracle database cloning. Okay, so there are specific steps involved. Yeah, so these are the overall steps we need to actually go through. You need to make sure that every step is done properly. Okay, because this particular cloning step is very critical. We totally understand that Oracle software is very important for clients or applications to connect to the database, but database itself is very critical. We need to make sure that data files are consistent as well as they do not get corrupted during the cloning activities. So how do we start it is to first take the fresh backup of the source server. Okay, I showed you the primary and the secondary server yesterday. I have two servers. Okay, make sure the directory structure is same as what is there in the primary. How do we know about it? Is we will be needing to create p file from sp file on the primary server. Make sure to open it up and get to know about what all directories are there, and make sure to create the same directory as there on the primary to the secondary. Okay, there are some differences, but I'll let you know what the differences can be if you want to have a different directory structure, what can be done. Okay, now because we have already taken the fresh backup, the reason being taking the backup is we will be needing this backup to be transferred to the secondary server, restored to the server, recovered the database on the target server, that is secondary server. Okay, that is what we are going to perform. Because p file is currently not there, and if it is there as well, if you have cloned Oracle software using the Perl script, that is clone.pl, then what will happen is during the binary transfer, right, we created a tar and then transferred that file and unzipped it, right? You will see that the same directory structure will exist on the secondary server as well. It means that there will be tnsnames.aura as well as listener.aura file in network admin folder, and at the Oracle home DBS location there will be sp file and p file as well as password file. I have demonstrated that we need to actually change and rename the password file, the sp file, and the init file, right? So that was actually done yesterday using the mv command, that is move command, to the new name. Now we will be changing some specific stuff as well, but I will show you what I will do. Now change the environment variable to pat. So our secondary server, as you all know, is pat. Okay, that's what we did yesterday. So we are keeping the name as pat. Okay, make sure to have an aura tab entry, and we need to start up using the no mount. Okay, the situation will be that Oracle will use the init file, the p file, and it will start up no mount. Okay, as soon as you start up no mount, you need to go to rman and restore the sp file. Then you have to shut down the database again and then start up with no mount. And now this time, because we have restored the sp file, it will be restoring the sp file and using that sp file to no mount. Okay, after that we need to restore the control file. We need to mount the database. Okay, perfect. On the secondary server, we need to restore the database, complete database, and recover the database and open the database with reset logs. So these are the These are some 10 to 12, 15 steps we need to perform one by one. So as you see that the 10.168 is my primary server and 10.155 is the secondary server. Okay, so I have created two sessions each for each server. One is root and one is Oracle for both of them. First of all, the important thing is we needed to take the fresh backup. Okay, so what we will do first, we will check the process and then we will take the backup, connect to Arman and take the backup. Okay, let's now validate everything including the process and the PDB. Okay, everything is running fine. You see the process prod. Now let's connect to SQL Plus and check PDBs. So for the Arman backup, what will happen is when you will say backup database or backup as compressed backup set database, right? What will happen is this specific command will take the backup of the root container as well as the seed as well as pluggable databases. So you don't need to specifically mention the PDB seed until there is a requirement. Okay, so we don't need to worry, we just need to issue the command backup as compressed backup set, or if you want to take incremental backup, or everything runs the same way as it has done in non-CDB. So nothing is changed, just that there is an add-on for the pluggable database as well if you want to take the pluggable database backup specifically. Okay, so all the command works. So let's exit out of this and say arman target slash, and we will take the backup, and I'll take the compressed backup set database archive log delete input. Okay, let's wait for the backup to be completed. Because we will be transferring the backup and restoring from the secondary server, we need to make sure that we need to transfer these all backup files to a specific location and then restore it from there. So I'll show you how it's done. So currently you see that this is a specific backup location for the data files. Okay, now there will be a specific location for the root container files, the PDB seed file as well as the PDB files, right? Everything is segregated. As you all know, this is a multi-tenant environment. So the container database wherever you are, so let's say there is PDB1, and if you are logged into PDB1 and you are administrator of PDB1 and you are not allowed to be logged into any other container, then the application as well as the DBA itself will feel that they are using non-container database. Okay, so yeah, as you can see that the location of the root data files is this one. Perfect. Now it's picking up the PDB files and it will show you the backup piece where it and the backup set where it is actually locating it. So yeah, this is the GUID of this particular PDB. Okay, this is where the data files are backed up for the PDBs. Okay, so this location has to be looked after, and then what we will do, we will go to each one of them as I showed you about this one, right? So we need to go to this location and then transfer the backup. We need to see this and transfer the backup, and then final part is as PDB seed is stored here, PDB backups are stored here, that needed to be transferred as well. And the final part is this one, okay, auto backup of control files and SP file. This is very important, so you need to make sure the backup needed to be transferred. So all the backups, okay, needs to be transferred. You guys must be thinking that there are so many locations, why not one place? This is how the Oracle architecture is developed, whatever you do. But the thing is that when you either create an OMF based file system, you specifically select that feature of OMF, or you will select your own manual way of managing your files or the file system. What Oracle will do, Oracle will actually create the subfolder with the database name. That's how it's made, right? These all things are not done manually. This is not a scripting course, but in the real environment everything is scripted, so that what script will do, it will go to each location, because files are actually located in the similar type of location, so they will script it out, and these backups will be transferred to the specific location and then to the tape or archive wherever they want to. So this is how it goes in the real environment. So backup has been taken. Let's create a directory where our backup will be located. Don't worry about this. Let's close this. It's confusing, right? So close this as well. And on the 155 we will create a directory. Let's go to Aura data, okay, and list it. Nothing is there, so we will create mkdir backups. So now we have backup location. What we will do, we will transfer everything to cd backup. Okay, we will transfer everything to this on 155. Okay, so what we will do, we will go to each location. So let's go to first root container files. So this is where it's located. No, sorry, it's not located here, it's located here. You see this? These are the root container files. Paste it. Let's check it. Okay, so scp everything to 192.168.10.155 colon, everything needed to be transferred to this location. Enter the password, let it complete. This is completed. We'll go to home directory again, and we will cd to pdb files, right? So this is the location. This is where all the pdb files are. These are very important steps, okay? Transferring the files to the location is very important. This is how we will use this backup location to actually restore on the secondary server, and this is how we clone the database, right? So very important step. And you can see the transfer rate as well as the size of the backups. So let's go to home directory again, and let's transfer the pdb seed file. So you will see that it will say input data files, and then eventually say piece handle, and then the location, okay? So you will understand which file is associated, or which folder is associated with which backup. Need to cd to that location, list it, and use the same stuff. Enter the password. And I think only one thing is left. Actually there can be two, but because we do not have any transaction currently going on, this is not live production environment, so there is no redo generation, and so Eventually there is no archive log generation, otherwise you will be needing to go to this archive log location and then transfer the backup from here as well, if that is the real environment. So what you need to do is cd to this location, because this is saying that it's archive log files. Okay, so go to this location and scp to the secondary location, but there is no current transaction going on, so there is no redo generation and there is no archiving of those files, so don't worry about that. We'll go to the control file and sp file backup, auto backup. Okay, so everything is transferred. Now check on this location, you see the files here. Now important thing is, let's change the environment variable to pat. As you already saw that I have aura tab. If you guys do not have entry in the aura tab, then you can go to the primary server and copy and paste it here and make an entry for the aura tab for the upcoming database name. Okay, and database is still not there, right? I'm thinking of creating the database with the database name as pat. That's why I kept the name as that pat. Okay, let's go to dbs location and check the sp file and p file. So there are files. What I will do, I'll start removing which I don't want. I don't need all these. Okay, we will be eventually restoring the files. We can delete this password file as well. Why we can delete it is because during the restore the password file is not restored. Okay, there is no backup of password file, so this has to be done manually. I'll show you how it's done. We will need to go to primary and then scp the file to this specific location and change the name. So we will remove this as well. We are not removing the on the p file, we don't need to. So there is only one file left, initpat.aura. Okay, so one important correction for the manual cloning, we will remove this file as well and we will create the p file manually. Okay, with one entry and one entry only. So I'll show you how it's done and change the aura tab entry to prod as well. This is the issue with a manual cloning is at the initial steps everything has to be similar to the production environment or the primary server, so including the the aura tab file entry as well as the database name in the p file. Okay, so I will show you everything needed to be same. We need to then restore and recover the database and then rename the database at that point of time. Okay, we will be changing everything. Until then nothing will be changed. So let me show you. So let's remove this file. So what I did is I have so I am currently in Oracle Home DBS location on the primary server. Okay, why I'm here is and why I'm listing these files is I want to know from the primary server that what all directory structure I need to create on the secondary and what all parameters needing to be copied to the secondary p file, right? Why it is required? The requirement is because when we eventually restore the database will look for the values persisted in data files header and control file header. If it does not find that particular location, because the current location is primary, right, and we are going to restore on secondary, if we don't find the directory structure same as whatever is here, then it will throw the error. There are different parameters. If your directory structure is different from primary and if you want to change it, there are ways to do it. I will do it in a moment, but that is what the whole story is. So let's check the P file for the production, that is the primary server. Okay, so you see the important parameters here. We don't need all of them, but we need this audit file destination location to be available on the secondary, otherwise it will fail, because the backups has this location. Okay, this is where they are going to look for, or in the control file, in the data files, these location is there. While restoring, they will look for this particular location. If this location does not exist, or this particular location does not exist, or this particular location does not exist, then it will throw error. You don't want it to throw the error, right? Or the rman to throw error. So these needed to be there. This is very important parameter. This has been true for 12.1 and beyond databases, because it's a multi-tenant environment. You need to say enable pluggable database true on the P file of the secondary server. Currently P file does not exist, so we need to create it. You don't need this. You can say this, otherwise the default ones. Okay, so let's start creating the directory first. Everything needs to be same. Okay, but the restoration, where you want to restore. Okay, so when you want to restore your files, data files, to the different location, so let's say if you want to restore your file to not to prod but to pat, then we can mention two specific parameters. I will show you what we need to say. Okay, so just a second. That directory structure is created. Let's see if this is there. I hope not. So mkdir-p, this directory structure has to be there. Sorry, copy it, paste it, done. This location is already there, as you saw. Now we will create a P file, okay, with the same init prod, okay, same file name. So init and the database name, init prod.aura. Perfect. We'll say this and we will start inserting the values. db name equals prod. This name will currently be same, but eventually we are going to change it, and then we will be using the specific parameter. So we'll use this. While restoring it, it will restore to the same location. So you will see that on the secondary server, this folder we actually created in just moments back, right? So it will restore the control files here. So we will give it this one, so that both control files are restored to a proper location. Enable pluggable database true has to be there, must. Okay, and then because this location is created, you don't need to mention this. Okay. Now what we need to do is, now the most important two parameters are, first of all we need to check our location of data files and log files. Okay, and then we have to enter the two parameters. Why it is required, I'll tell you. So first of all, let's check the location, because eventually you are going to restore everything on the secondary, right, using the backups. So you want your files to not be scattered but to be restored to the proper location, and that proper location has to be either similar to primary, or if your file and folder structure is completely different from primary, then you have to say the two parameters, so that when the when the parameters or the values persisted in data file and control files header, when the recovery or restoring is going on, when they actually see the database see those particular values, it will identify it and then change the value to whatever you require where you want to restore, right? So let's check the location of data file. All the data files are under prod. Good. Now check the log file location. Select member from $log file. So same location. We have this location already with the we have created just moments back, right? For the control file, these two locations. So we have already done that. Exit out of this. Yeah, so the two parameters will be show parameter db file. So this parameter, okay, db file name convert and log file name convert. So I'll copy this, I will mention this star dot. So what it will say is, whenever you see this location, make sure to change it to at. Okay, so when the values are found in header, right, as this, it will store it into this. Does this exist? Copy. Let's create another session. We will create it. Okay, mkdir-p. Good. So this part is done. Just that log file name convert. Show parameter log file. So star dot. Okay, it will be same. So I'll copy paste. I hope you guys understood. I think everything looks fine. Looks perfect. Now let's check the environment variable. Did we change it to prod or not? No. Good. Let's do SQL plus /shdba start up no mount. So database is no mounted. What we need to do is go to rman and restore the sp file. Oh, sorry. We need to say rman target slash restore sp file from and the backup location. So first of all, we need to identify. So this is our data slash backups, but we need to provide the file name. Okay. So my one tip will be when taking the backup, make sure to make an entry somewhere in your notes, wherever you want to, for the backups. Okay. This backup is important. As you see, control file and sp file backup are together. This is auto backup. This is the file. We transferred that backup. This is where it's going to locate, right? So this is where it's going to locate. I was just looking for the file, specific file. Let it restore. So you will see that it's restored to DBS location perfectly. Good. Now start up no mount rows skill plus slash shdba shutdown immediate, and then again start up. So as you know that the priority is given to the sp file, this time it will be no mounted with sp file. That is what we needed. That's the reason we restored, right? Good. Start up no mount. I will exit and I will clear the screen and then connect back. Now what we need to do is restore the control file. So exit out of this, and now we need to restore the control file. Control file, as you all know, that it is the same location as sp file. So we need to say restore control file from, and then we will copy the complete thing. Oh, I needed to put the quotes, right? I forgot to put. So you will see that the restoration will happen as per our parameter in the init file we actually mentioned, right? The two locations. So it will happen there. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see if it goes fine. Yeah, so it has actually restored to the proper location. What we would have done is, because we will be eventually changing the name to pat, right? I would have restored it into pat. You guys can do it on your home as a project to just change that directory structure to aura data slash pat slash, right? So that you restore it to the proper place. So now control file is restored. We can say alter database mount because control file is restored, right? So now we can mount the database. This is done. Now when we say restore database, so I'll show you what I'm trying to say. When we will say restore database, because eventually we have to restore the database, right? It will not work. It will throw error. Why it will throw error? Because it has not found the data files to restore, because the control file is the database for all the backups, right? but control file do not have the location of the new backup directory you have created on the secondary server. It just has the location for all these, right? Backup sets this location, it has all the location of these directories, right? Wherever it has actually taken the backup on the primary, but it does not have the location of the slash aura data slash backups, right? So you need to let it know that where the backup location is, and for that you need to say catalog start with slash aura data. So you need to actually point control file to the right direction where the backup files are. Okay, so it has found out these book backups. Okay, and it has cataloged these files. Okay, so now it knows the backup location. Now you can say backup restore database. Let's see how it goes. It will actually go through all the backups. It will restore the files to the proper location. The header says slash aura data slash prod, right? On the primary, it is going to change it to slash aura data slash pat as per our db name file convert and log file name convert. So let's see how these steps goes. I will not pause the video. You guys will see what is going on. Yeah. I don't understand why it's is still storing it into the slash aura data slash prod. We will check it. What happened there? Even though we actually mentioned the parameter, but still it's restoring to the same aura data slash prod. Weird. But one important thing is it's restoring the data files, and it has found everything in the backup, right? So it's restoring it properly. So it has restored everything. Okay, but to the incorrect location. We mentioned the correct location, or maybe I have mistyped anything. We will check it. So this is done. We will recover the database. What will happen is in this particular statement, it will try to look for archive log. So in the real environment, when the transaction are live, right, there will be redo generation, and those redo files will be eventually go to the archive log, right? So the recovered database command actually says that if some transactions are missing, let's say with this proper on the specific timestamp, then when you say recover database, it will go and look into the archive log destination or the backup location of the archive. Okay, it will find out all the redo log files there. It will try to roll forward the operation and roll back the operation according to the committed record. So if the data is committed, then and the database do not have that particular record in the data files, then the database will roll forward that operation and apply all the redo logs and the transactions to the data file and make it updated on the data file header as well as control file header. But if the transactions are not committed, as you already know, everything will be rolled back. Okay, so let's say recover database. Nothing will happen because we don't have archive logs, so don't need to worry about this. It did not find the archive logs. Okay, so that's done. Let's exit out of this, connect to SQL Plus, alter database, open. You need to reset the logs. After this point in time, your all the backups will be obsolete. Okay, your all backups are of no use. You can delete the backups. Okay, so database is open. Select open mode from $, database. Select name from $, database. Select, I'm just validating everything, $data file. It has actually restored the PDB seed, the root files as well as PDB files into the prod folder. We will check the P file, okay, what we messed up actually. Select name from $temp file. So yeah, 3 temp files are there. Select member from $log file. I misspelled member. So everything is there. Let's check the P file. Cat init. Everything looks fine, but why did not it work properly? Anyways, I will come up with the steps and how to correct this, but you don't need to worry. So eventually we saw that our database is up and running. So let's say what happened here. Okay, let's check the values. Show PDBs. Everything is fine or not? Yeah, it's perfect. Now we need to rename the database, container database. I will come up with the video to how to change the name of the pluggable database, or the when you actually go to the section that is multi-tenant and multi-tenant videos in the specific Aura inventory section, right? Aura inventory channel of mine, you will find this particular video where I have actually performed the rename of PDB database. So we will not look at that. We are going to change the name of the database as well as the database ID, because the current database is production prod. We don't want that. For that, what we need to do is, as you already might be knowing, that we will be using NID utility. Okay, so what we need to say is NID db name, sorry, NID db name equals that. Target is how you are going to connect, right? For this, I'm literally very sorry about it. What we need to do is SQL plus, what am I doing? You need to start the database in mount. It shouldn't be ever in OpenState. It will fail every time. So shut down immediate. So these are the small steps, right? You need to keep validating these things. This is why we create the script in the real environment and try to run and actually run and validate everything in the development environment, so that if everything goes fine, then we actually use the scripts in the production environment. Human errors are possible, but that is how you learn. Make sure you commit mistakes, but after committing mistakes you learn, take note of it, and then make sure to engrave that particular data in your head, right? So that next time if something happens like that, you know, and it clicks in your mind that no, that is not possible, or if that is possible. Okay, because this is very critical environment. Databases are very critical to any companies out there, right? So yes, so startup mount, I would have edited everything, but that is not the proper way of doing it. I can make mistakes as well, even though I have good amount of experience. It's not like robot, right? We are doing everything live. So we will run the same command. Now it is fine. It has identified the control files because it's going to change that into its header, the database ID, and it's changing the database name from prod to pat. So say yes, everything is getting changed. What database is doing is writing the database name and the database ID on the headers of the data files, as well as control file. Give it a moment. It's done. Okay, now what you need to do is go to vi/etc/aura tab entry and now change it to pat because it's changed now. Okay, and one more important thing, let me check the file. Okay, change this name as well. Okay, remove the other file, confusing files. Anytime we can create this. SP file, right? So don't need to worry about deleting it until we have backup of something and we have init file. Good, the database is shut down, everything looks fine. Now we need to move the file to init prod to init pat. Good, because we changed the environment variable. That environment variable is going to point to this initialization file, the parameter file, right? Parameter file is named as init, and the database name, the current database in the environment variable is pat. When you say prod, then it will be conflict and it will throw the error. It will not find the file. So make sure it to match it. SQL plus slash sys so dot aura env pat SQL plus slash sysdba. And then start of the database. It will again throw the error saying that need to open with reset logs. Then we can alter the database. Yeah, so altered database, because we changed stuff in control file, right? Open. What we changed is the data files, right? So not the data file, the database ID and the database name in the control file header. So anything going to change something in control file, right, has to be open with reset logs. Yeah. Good. So we completed everything. It has been a long video, but very, very important video. People usually use the armand duplication to duplicate the database from one server to another. But the thing is, these particular cloning activities are also found in many environment still, and it is very, very important. So you guys must know how to do it. Thank you very much for attending.